What's good, everybody, and welcome to the Hustle, Budget, and Glow show. I'm your host, Shelbie Morgan, and today I have amazing guest, Dr. Benjamin. I'm going to introduce him shortly. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to talk about a lot of overcoming necessities, what fear really means, what does success look like. So, Dr. Benjamin, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. Thank you so much again for being on the show today. And also, guys, bonus factor, we're both in Austin, so I love that. But Dr. Benjamin, go ahead, you take over.
Yeah, well, when we're not dodging snakes or bobcats on trails around our houses,
Right.
I'm spending.
Welcome to summer in Texas.
Yeah, yeah. So you sweat about 5 gallons of water a day. You avoid the snakes, and then in my free time, I'm a career coach for leaders as well as a talent management consultant. So I work with people one-on-one to help them kind of take more control and be more fearless in their careers. And then I'll go into organizations. They'll bring me in for leadership development trainings and just in general to help people feel more engaged and productive and empowered in the workplace.
100%. And we live in a world where people need to feel more empowered. A lot of people are not as confident in the workplace and job security and corporations. People are really leaning more toward side hustles and businesses outside of their
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5 because the idea of a corporation, a company, especially tech, in that industry, we're seeing layoffs all the time. I think Microsoft just laid off a couple thousand people. There is no loyalty, so employees don't feel loyal. Employers definitely, I don't think we're ever loyal. So it's like, how can you take ownership of your career in the world we live in, especially if you're a Gen Z or millennial like me and you? So my first question to you is, when did you know that career coaching was a path that you wanted to take? What was your aha moment, or what happened to you in your own personal career that made you want to help other people?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how it's weird how in our careers we give our power away to our organizations, to our managers, to our coworkers, but in no other area of our life do we generally do that.
Right.
Like we take ownership. And so since I was like a little kid, I kind of had this idea that work wasn't sitting behind a desk. I was pretty lucky because of that. So my father used to kind of repair houses and stuff. Like we'd drive us through alleys and we'd pick up old toasters and fridges and go home and fix it. Like it's because he had to make money, and that's like how he did it. You know, he was a real estate agent at some point. Now my mom ended up getting this like 9 to 5 corporate, stayed there for a long time. She was in education. So I had these two different worlds though. Like, oh, on this one end, what kind of life do you want to live? And then how do you craft that for yourself? On another end, how do you create security and how do you make the most of the system that's been created for people generally to work? Now, then I got the taste of soccer. So another little tidbit of like not wanting to work for anybody. I was like, I'm just going to go be a professional athlete. I'm going to play sports. So nothing in my professional development really made me feel like I had to work behind a desk. And so when I lost soccer, and the one thing that I kind of wanted to do was nutrition and fitness, and that was canceled like when I was going to school. I didn't really know what to do, and entrepreneurship was kind of that path forward. So I started thinking about what I wanted to build, and through all that, there's a lot of self-doubt that creeps up. Like, you know, your major being canceled, the job that you want, you know, that athletics not working out, and through all of it, just, you know, craving validation from the external world, while on one end, like trying to also pave this own path for myself. And I realized the number one thing that was holding me back was the belief in who I was. And so I did a lot of self-research in terms of how to grow. I took all that energy that I was investing into trying to become a professional athlete, invested it into myself. And lo and behold, you find the world of coaching. You find the world of professional development and how to gain confidence and how to create clarity and how to align your values to your life and just show up in a way that is true to you. And through that journey, someone literally stopped me on the street, and they're like, I understand like your beliefs and your mindset and what you're doing in terms of kind of going out there and meeting people. Come meet my boss. And that ended up becoming my first ever coaching job. And coaching was never something that I thought I was going to do for my career. And lo and behold, the universe wanted something different for me. And there's a lot else that happened. But basically, the merging of coaching and entrepreneurship and trying to pave my own path professionally due to professional disappointments was how I got to where I am today.
I love that. I think that's the story for a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that we saw an opportunity where no one else did. in either a good or bad situation, and we took advantage of it. We either had been through it or saw somebody else go through it, or a combination of the two, and we made something out of it, right? Like, you wanted to be on a team, you wanted to be part of a community where you had a coach, and the way the world works, you ended up becoming a coach yourself. It might not have been in
Yeah.
sports like you planned, but you're coaching, you're helping other people in their everyday life, and I love that. I think that's something, really beautiful. And hey, a conversation can change your life. That person on the street walked up to you, and it opened a multitude of doors.
Yeah. And to add on to this, so the career disappointments are kind of why I ended up in the world of career coaching. So I ended up getting a job in health policy, but I didn't get that job for like a year of trying to search and figure out what I wanted to do. They ended up getting federal cuts, and so that job was cut. And then there was a kind of 2.5 year window where I worked odd jobs. I bartended, I worked music festivals, I handed out flyers on the street, I walked around downtown Chicago with the sign on my back advertising a frozen pizza company, until eventually I networked into a position in healthcare. And I worked in healthcare in about 3-4 years. I never really chose that job, didn't really want it. And so it was kind of always like one foot out the door, one foot in, trying to figure out
Right.
how to grow this coaching business, how to kind of grow my own thing. And then I got selected for a leadership development training, which was funny because that job itself was pretty toxic. Leaders kind of telling me to smile more, or kind of people would come to me and cry every single day about the way that they were spoken to and the demands of the job. And in that leadership development training program, with my background in coaching, I kind of resonated with the person that was running it across 13 different hospitals. He was kind of like the head boss of the program. And we really connected, and he created a safe space for me to kind of share a little bit more about what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and what I wanted to be and professionally and as a leader.
Right.
And he showed me that I could apply coaching in the corporate environment, and I could help people kind of feel more empowered and accountable for their careers. And so that ended up kind of elevating where I wanted to take this path. And I think that happens a lot, where we keep picking up little pieces from every little aspect of our life, but the only way to do that is to keep leaning into life. And
Right.
so I ended up going back to school, getting my doctorate in organizational leadership. And with my background in coaching, my background in entrepreneurship, my own personal experiences with being disappointed with life and not being able to count on corporations, organizations, or my leader to fund my life or to pave my path forward, that led me to create Live for Yourself Consulting. And here we are today, helping people kind of do that for themselves.
I love that. 100% the last thing you said, counting on a corporation. You can't count on corporations. That's not the world we live in anymore. Me and you both know that. Perhaps that worked for our parents and our grandparents, and they worked for 20, 30 years, but they got reciprocity. There's no reciprocity, right? And it can be in a lot of ways today, whether that's flicking a light switch and making people that were remote return to office 2, 3, 5 days a week, threatening people with their jobs, cutting federal employees, whatever the case may be. We are seeing that these corporations are giving people ultimatums in order to fund their lifestyle. So I hope everyone, like you said, is opening their eyes and knowing that you have to be accountable for your own career. You cannot bet on these corporations to continue to have you on for the next year, the next 2, the next 5 years. It doesn't work like that. I don't care if you get there early, stay up late, work really hard, take on all the projects. It doesn't matter. It's about numbers and opportunity at the end of the day for the people who are making the decisions. And like you said, there was the big boss guy that helped you learn all these different skill sets and create a safe space for you. But we both know there's not often a safe space in corporate America. And I think more people should do that. But at the same time, I think we should set boundaries in our work. And I think we should create our own safe spaces. And once we can't do that anymore, and we've tried and advocated for ourselves, we should kind of just let it go and walk away from that. Because I really think at the end of the day, you have to show up for yourself and bet on yourself. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's really different in the US than in certain countries. Like, there are different labor laws in Canada, different labor laws in Europe. Other countries are not as safe. But there, in some instances, you get like 6 months to 12 months funded by the government if they decide to separate you. And to let you go is actually a very long and arduous process. In the United States and a variety of other countries, employment's at will. You are not guaranteed a job. You are a tool that they're using to make money. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. And they're like,
Right.
oh, if I'm their tool, they're using me to make money, how am I preparing for when they don't need this tool anymore, or when this tool costs them more money?
Right.
And I think if we shift that, because a lot of the reasons why people end up in a terrible place is they think that, one, like their paycheck's going to be never ending, like they're just going to keep getting it, so they don't try to protect themselves financially, they don't build the safety net, and they think that that by working hard and by doing their job, they're kind of guaranteed a position, and neither of those things are reality.
No.
So how do we build a life where we have multiple streams of income, where we're not reliant on our one employer because we are just their tool? And
Right.
how do we build a safety net? So multiple streams of income, a safety net financially, and then also create some boundaries for ourselves in work to make that all possible.
100%. You have to create a safety net financially. As a person who's also been disappointed in corporate America in every way, capacity, shape, and form, I've never had a job that I've loved, but I've had jobs that I really liked, that I got a lot out of and built network and built connections. And I have no regrets from any of the positions that I have. But at some point, it was a time to walk away from all of them, whether it was by choice or because I got let go. It didn't matter. I had to make sure that I was set up for success. And I think the one thing that I try to tell to people is always save your money. Save and invest your money as much as you can while you're working somewhere, because if you live beyond your means, I mean, at any point you could get let go. At some of these tech companies, the employee lifespan is 9 months. I've seen it, I've been in it, I've experienced it. And if that is the importance of you to a company, 9 months to a year, then I hope you're saving and investing and having those other stream of incomes. Use your money at your corporate job to fund your business idea. And if you can stay there for long enough to where you make as much or make more and you can walk away, great. But a lot of the times that's not the case, where you're trapped. And when you get let go, if you don't have that 6 or 12 months, like you mentioned, good luck. And it's at will. Like you said, we're not guaranteed a lot of safety. And there's something I wanted to bring up from your book. You guys, Dr. Benjamin does have a fabulous book I think everyone should read, Becoming Fearless, 65 Strategies to Journey from Self-Doubt to Self-Mastery. So definitely grab this. Dr. Benjamin, while I found this quote, where can they find your book at? Let us know.
Pretty much anywhere books are sold. If you like audiobooks, on Spotify or Amazon, ebook. Pretty much also like everywhere, Barnes & Noble, Google, Amazon. If you want the paperback, generally Amazon. It's also at libraries. So it should be,
Oh,
if you
amazing.
have the app, if you have like the Overdrive app or Libby app, you can get the audiobook or the ebook through your online library.
Okay, yeah, I have a Austin Public Library card, and I need to download Libby. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Good note. Okay, so I found the first few things that I want to read. It says, accept the true meaning of work. Are you making work your entire life? Make time for yourself outside of work. The only way you're going to get used to not working is to create more times when you aren't working. Amazing. Let's talk about it. Dive in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was addicted to work. I mean, I might have a little bit. I might have relapses here and there, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you've been trained your entire life to work, especially if you're like a really hard worker, or you maybe a little bit of a perfectionist, or just in general, if you think work is life, instead of like thinking that we basically work to fund our life,
Right.
then you're probably going to overwork. You're probably going to only feel good when you're working. You're probably going to crave recognition, validation from your employer. Maybe you think that a title is most important, or a certain paycheck is most important, or you just feel that in general, your sense of self is defined by your career instead of who you are. Then you're going to have the scales are not going to be balanced appropriately when it comes to how you're enjoying and craving fulfillment from your life. And it's really uncomfortable. Like when I shifted from working nonstop to trying to live nonstop,
Right.
you have spans of time where you're like, oh, I should be working. I should be doing this thing. I'm really uncomfortable right now. You're with friends and you're thinking about the emails that you need to send. And
Right.
we kind of have to practice and build the muscle of where else in your life do you, like, what else is more important to you? What do your values say that you should be investing in? And yes, sitting at a pool with your friends on a long weekend is okay and should be enjoyed.
Right. You should enjoy those things. And have you ever met those people that the first thing they do when they meet you is ask you, what you do for work, where
Yeah.
you went to school. I think they're so caught up in titles and the company or org that they're tied to, and they don't know how to not talk about work. The basis of their entire conversation is their career over the past 5 or 10 or 15 years. And they lead with that. They lead with title and they lead with employment, but they never lead with entrepreneurship. They don't lead with ownership. They don't own anything. They don't own shit. They have worked for someone their entire lives. And so it's hard for them to sit still. It's hard for them to be by the pool. It's hard for them to enjoy time with their family because they're constantly thinking about, what do I need to do for this person that at any time could be disloyal to me and fire me or let me go? How do people get out of that mindset? Even if they have a great job that they like, how do they get into the mindset of, I should be building something for myself and I shouldn't lead with employment, but I should lead with who I am as a person?
Yeah, and it's okay because generally it's not their fault most of the time because they've been taught this. They've learned over the years that they are their job and they don't know who they are. You sit down with someone and be like, oh, who are you? And they're like, well, I'm a leadership coach. No. Who are you? And this is a big issue with entrepreneurs too. They get caught up in building and scaling and becoming and striving for success or whatever it is when you're not your job. Like you get value from your job. Your job fulfills certain parts of your life, like your paycheck. It creates hopefully some financial security, maybe some social connection and relationships. It helps you apply your skills in a way which just feels good.
Right.
Helps you build something and create novelty. But you can get that in other places of your life. So to start kind of figuring out like how to detach from that, you have to start figuring out who you are. And you have to answer the question, who am I?
Right.
And not to add it with a job title, but to add it with parts of who you are that you respect and that you're proud of. Yeah. And maybe you're kind of stuck at work and you don't know how to do that. Well, go to your friends. Go to 5 of your friends, 10 of your friends, family, and go to your enemies and ask them, who am I? So if I wasn't in the room and someone said, oh, have you met Shelbie? And like, how would you answer that? Like, what's Shelbie like? What would you answer that? What do you think Shelbie cares about? How would you answer that? Right. And just get those answers together and start figuring out like how you're showing up and how people perceive you. And then hope that might be right. It might not be right. Right. But then how do you then perceive yourself? Like for me, I'm very, very, very big on exploring, defining, and aligning your values. It means answering the question, who am I? And there's a strategy to do that. We can talk about it if we want. You figure out those keywords of those phrases, then you define them. So what do they mean in my life today? What do they mean to my relationships? What do they mean to my job? Not what does your job mean about you? It means what do your values mean for how you need to show up at work? Yeah. And then you align that to your life. So for me, my number one value is health. Health is mental, spiritual, emotional, physical. And I apply that in my life in many, many different ways. How I work with clients, how I show up at a corporation or training, how I show up with my friends, how I show up in my free time. Right. In my what I drink in my canteen with my drops of vitamin K and electrolytes, and the fact that even that I moved to Austin is an application of my values and how I show up.
100%. I couldn't agree more, and I am right aligned with you. My number one value is my health. You can ask my family, my friends, my parents. I really care about taking care of myself. I'm really big on what I put in my body, what I do with my body, and the time and energy I give people, like you said, mental, physical, all of that. It really matters to me because I don't have my health. I can't be a podcaster. I can't be a friend. I can't be a daughter. I can't be anything. I'm not taking care of me. So I think 100% one of the first things people would say about me is, one, Shelbie likes to talk all the time, hence why I podcast. Number 2, I like to create safe spaces for people. And number 3, she really puts a lot into her wellness because without that, you don't really have much. I can talk about financial wellness all day, but what am I doing for myself and how do I show up for me? And on that note, I'm going to read something else from your book since we're on a career kick. Okay. I love this. So it says, follow your interests. And it asks the question, are you unsure of how you need to change? You should immerse yourself in what you want to become. Most importantly, you should immerse yourself in the environment you want to create. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So many people come up to me and they go, Ben, how do I get into this thing, like whatever it is, XYZ? How do I become a health coach? How do I become I'm trying to think, a lawyer. How do I become a private equity investor? How do I become a CPG, a kind of like health and wellness, like bar, like a food product creator?
Right.
I'm like, well, look around you. Who's in your network? What do you do with your time each and every single day? What books do you read? And easiest way to become something is to surround yourself with it. And so I kind of have this image of like, you pick yourself up, like those little like virtual people that move around. They
Yeah.
pick you up from wherever you are in the world, and they move you over and they drop you. And they need to drop you in the world that you're interested in. And so I don't care how disruptive it is, but if this is very stark. If you want to become a health and wellness and fitness individual, and you're working at, I don't know, McDonald's, or like, I don't know, like, this is not the best example, but basically saying, like, if you're in an environment that detracts or is different from the person you want to become, you're not going to become that person. It's going to be so hard. You're going to be swimming upstream constantly. The inputs that you're going to get are going to be against the mindset that you need and the actions that you need to create within your life. If you want to be an entrepreneur, go to entrepreneurial events, listen to podcasts by entrepreneurs, go outside and sell lemonade. I don't care what it is. If you don't know what you want to start, but do something outside of your current job. Your job is always going to be there. That's actually the point of kind of setting boundaries and such. Work is never supposed to be over, because if it is, you're out of a job. So organizations are always supposed to give you more work than you can do. So you have to create time to invest in the environment and the life that you think you want to create. The biggest issue here is people hanging out with people that drain them and that are from their past, that don't align with the future that they want to create for themselves. And so it's tough,
Right.
and we're going to be uncomfortable, because when you leave the thing that you were, you have nothing until you create the thing you want to be. And so you have to be okay with having nothing for a little bit.
You have to be okay with having nothing for a little bit. I love that. And I love the McDonald's example you gave. You want to get healthy, but yeah, you're in line every day at the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, or you work at a fast food restaurant, or you hang out with people who don't care about their health. They drink and smoke all the time. I promise you, it's going to be very hard for you to get better and get healthy, because you're hanging out with people and you're spending time in environments that don't align with the new version of you. And like you said, it's going to be difficult. You're going to upset a lot of people. Those same people are not going to want to be around you anymore, because they're used to that avatar of you. They're used to you being a person that smokes and drinks and eat McDonald's. When you start changing and saying, y'all, I'm gonna have one drink a week, I'm gonna drink my water and go to the gym, they can't figure out why they don't like you, but they do. And but it's up to you. You got to take yourself out of that environment. You have to want to do better. Same with work, like you said. Work is always going to be there. You're going to have more work, but you got to do something more than that. And so I'm going to move on to the next thing I highlighted, which I'm also very excited about.
I also want to hear what they mean to you. That's the whole reason I wrote the book.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll ask you this and I'll tell you what they mean to me. Okay. So take pride in your work every day. Does your work day feel like checking a box? You should focus on impressing yourself. You have to give yourself a reason to care about work.
Who wants to go first?
You know what? Sure, I'll go first. Why not? Um, I think if you are impressed by yourself, I think if you don't believe in you, then it's going to be very hard for people around you to do the same. It's going to be very hard when you go to those networking events, when you have a pitch for your podcast or for your business, to get people to want to hear what you have to say. Because I can look at somebody and I can know whether or not they have confidence, not arrogance, but confidence in who they are, and if they have values they believe in. So if I meet you and you're not on time, or you don't know who you are at your core, you don't know what your values are, um, you lack faith in yourself, then it's going to be really hard for me to want to do business with you or be friends with you, because you don't show up for you. Why would you show up for me as a friend or a partner or a family member? Um, so for me, I think I say this all the time, like I bet on myself. And I've had ups and downs, lows and highs. Like I'm always going through something, it seems like. But I continue to show up for myself. And the number one way I impress myself is I have very hard boundaries. Like once I say no to something, I'm not doing it. If I don't want to go out, if I don't want to talk, if I don't want to live in the city, whatever the case may be, my boundaries are what they are. And a lot of people have a hard time with your boundaries because they don't have any of themselves. And so I impress myself every day by having my hard nose, my soft nose. I have some soft nose. There's wiggle room. Like I'm not really a go with the flow person. Now, if there's something sporadic, something happening randomly, like you text me today at 12:52, Shelby, do you want to go at 3 o'clock? I might say yes, depending on how I feel. More than likely, I'm not. But depending on the day, I will. But those are soft no's. There's wiggle room. And then I have my hard yeses as well. But my boundaries is really how I impress myself. And I've gotten older and gotten more experience. And I mean, you can ask my mom. I'll say no to her. I'll say no to anybody. And it's not out of disrespect. It's for respect for myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel like I impress myself every day. Boundaries, showing up for me, betting on me, taking a lot of chances. And I've taken a lot of chances, whether it was with my health or with my career, starting a business, starting a podcast. I didn't know nothing about a podcast 3 years ago. I knew I liked listening to them. I knew I liked talking. I knew I liked creating a safe environment where people could learn. I'm a teacher. I love to teach. I love to talk. I mean, I worked in learning and development too in corporate. I love helping people. If I'm not helping someone, I'm not doing anything. So I impress myself every time I help somebody make a difference in their life. So those are my hot takes. Ask me any follow-up questions. I'm down.
Well, it just sounds like you value time and you
I
want to make the most of your time.
I really do, Dr. Benjamin. Like, I love having control over my time. I love having autonomy over my time. I hate when I'm interrupted. Like, if I'm sitting down and I'm having a peaceful day and somebody randomly comes up to me and interrupts me in an unpolite way, I'm going to be so annoyed. Like, I love meeting people, like I said, but come say hi, introduce yourself. Or you can ask my mom, do not call me before 10 a.m. I do not want to talk. I don't take meetings before 10. I don't want to be bothered. I need time to start my day and set up time for myself. Also, when I get home from the gym, I don't pick up my phone. I want to shower. I want to eat breakfast. Like, you ask my parents when I go home, please don't bother me when I walk in from the gym. It's the last thing I want. But again, that goes back to boundaries because I have so much respect for my time and I love
Yeah.
people when I'm kind and caring, but respect my time too. It's all about reciprocity. If you can't give me what I give you, if you don't value my time, then you don't value our relationship. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like having control over my time. And it's just because I know who I am. If I didn't know who I was, then I would let people walk all over me and take control of my time.
It's powerful. One of the things that people have that struggle with is they go into a job and they think that the job is stealing their time. They think the boss is stealing their time. They think that they're unhappy with their job, so they just think that their time's a wash. But by doing that, they waste their time. You see this with entrepreneurs and founders too, where maybe they kind of wake up and maybe they doubt themselves, or they have to do something they don't want to do, like, oh, I hate sales and I have to do sales or whatever it is. And so they're showing up as like a portion of themselves.
Right.
And they're just giving their time away. They're just saying, I'm not where I want to be, so I'm not going to be who I want to be. But if you spend more time not being who you want to be, then that's time not just lost, that's time wasted.
Yes.
And I've learned each one of these strategies comes from a story that I experienced myself, and so it like resonated, and then I saw it in clients and I wanted to share it with the world. I was wasting a lot of time. I wasted years of my life blaming the world around me for who I was and what I was accomplishing. I was like, oh man, I wish I had that time back, but you can never get it back. And that's like so sad, and it hurts so much when you realize that.
Right.
Hopefully now, right, every second, tick, 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 I'm making the most of it. And not just by what I'm doing,
Right.
but what I'm experiencing myself, who I'm choosing to be in that moment. I'm choosing to be happy. I'm choosing to have fun. I'm choosing to be engaged. I'm choosing to do good work.
Right.
I'm choosing to give more value to the people around me because that means a lot to me.
It means a lot to you. And I think what you really said is like the time. I mean, what's the saying? Like, today is the youngest you've ever been, the youngest you're
Mm-hmm.
ever going to be, but also at the same time, this is the oldest you've ever been. Because you're not going to go back in time to yesterday. Yesterday, I was younger than I was today. Right. And tomorrow, I'll be a day older. So you might as well, like you said, choose to enjoy every day. And everything is not going to be positive, but in your environment, but you have to make the active and conscious and intentional decision to be positive yourself. You cannot worry about the people around you who want to suck up your time and your energy and discredit you, because everybody's different. Some people might not understand your creativity, your hustle, your gifts, your strategy. It's just going to be different for everyone around you. But you do have to be accepting of who you are and what is in your space and what's in your environment, and make those choices every single day. I think that is what really matters, because who do you want to be in the next week, year, 5 year, 10 years? It matters what your choices and how you show up for yourself. So I'm going to quote one more thing before we wrap up, and then you can tell people how they can get in touch with you. Let me pick. Oh, I like that one, but oh, I like this one. Okay. Commitment. You are fearless when you fully commit. The question said, are you holding yourself back? You have to commit yourself to making it work. Identify an area in your life where you think you want to succeed but have been holding back. Set a specific time frame to fully commit. You have to believe you will not let it end or fail. It has to work.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more. It has to work.
Every time in life that something does not make progress, it's generally because you have not decided that you're going to make progress. I think about this when I'm on the field in soccer. Like, if you hesitate, you fail. You hesitate, you lose. And so much of life where I've been unhappy and been unsure or been afraid, I didn't commit. I always had an option of something else I was doing. And you see this a lot with founders and entrepreneurs and people that are doing side hustles. They're like, oh, I'll start when, or I'll do this when, I'll post that video when I take this video making class. I don't know. But it's just this fear, and it's like half in, half out means that you're never actually in. And I'd love to hear what it means to you, but basically you got to try. And even if it's for one day, I'm going to commit for one day. I'm going to commit for 1 week. People go, Ben, you got so much willpower. I go, no, I made a decision. I made a decision to do this instead of that. While you're sitting here saying, I'm going to do this sometimes and that sometimes. No. You have to tell yourself what your rules are, or you're never going to make progress.
I agree. Yeah, for me, I mean, commitment is super easy. For me, commitment means getting back up as many times as I need to make something happen. I am not going to give up. I do not quit. If it matters to me, I'm going to go after it. My Letterman jacket, on the back of it, when I was 15, when I got it, or 16 or whatever, like, it says "Make it happen." And I have a picture of the back of my Letterman jacket on my fridge, and I look at it all the time. Because I'm going to make it happen regardless. I literally can fail 1,000 times. I'm going to get back up every time until that one time works, because that is how much I believe in me and what my dreams are. I'm a very creative person. And when you're creative, people like to put you in a box. I don't allow anyone to put me in a box. I do what I want to do, how I want to do it, because I believe in my podcast. I believe in my business. I know it's something unique because nobody else is me. And so because I know that I'm unique, and because I know that I'm dedicated, I'm going to stay committed. I'm going to keep going. Now, if it's something that I don't really have interest in, or it's just a hobby, then whatever. Like, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I like doing puzzles, and if I want to put the puzzle back in the box and start over tomorrow, then I'll do it. But if it's something I'm passionate about, like my podcast, that I'm trying to grow as a brand and a business, I'm going to go hard every time. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go to the networking events. I'm going to introduce myself to people. I'm going to do whatever it takes. For my bakery, I'm going to give out samples at a coffee shop that I go to and talk and see if I can get my products there. I'm going to keep trying because I'm committed to myself. So if I'm committed to myself, I can be a hell of a lot more committed to anything else that I put my mind to. So that's me in a nutshell, Dr. Ben. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. I got so much insight. You dropped a lot of dope gems, and it was very insightful. Fear is whatever you believe it to be. There's no limit to what you have to be afraid of, but it can be endless. You can keep going. You can grow. You can have more success and less fear. So thank you so much for everything. Let people know, how can they find you? How can they be in contact with you? How can they call you and use your services? I think everyone should have a Dr. Benjamin in their life. So let us know how we can contact you.
Yeah. And fear is just information. Everything we're talking about is just information, and how you interpret it and how you choose to let it impact your life, or what you want to believe should serve you. Your commitments should serve you. So I guess if you want to learn more, well, first off, you want to check out the book, go to Amazon again, just Becoming Fearless by Dr. Benjamin Ritter. If you want to learn more about some of the stuff that I do, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I post a ton, so you get a bunch of free content. There's actually was a recent kind of job market webinar panel event that I hosted that's up there. And then liveforyourselfconsulting.com is the website that I kind of, where my business lives at. So go check that out.
Amazing. You heard him. Live for yourself. Couldn't have been a better tagline. Thank you, Dr. Benjamin, for joining today. Thank you, everybody who is listening and is going to tune in later. I'm your host, Shelbie Morgan of the Hustle, Budget, and Glow podcast. Keep shining, keep hustling in the global shine. Peace out, everybody. Have a blessed day.